Most people spend their lives searching for something they call magic, meaning fulfillment or purpose, imagining that it exists somewhere far away, in a different relationship, a different job, a different version of themselves, or some future moment when everything finally comes together. And yet, there is a simple and unsettling idea that keeps appearing across philosophy, psychology, and spiritual traditions, an idea that many people feel in their bones but rarely want to face directly, and that is this. The magic you are looking for is hidden in the very work you are avoiding, because avoidance is not laziness. It is fear dressed in comfort. It is the quiet decision to look away from what feels too heavy, too painful, too uncertain, or too revealing, and so instead of meeting life directly, many of us slip into what could be called autopilot mode, a way of living where the body moves, the mind reacts, the days pass, but no one is truly home inside, and in this mode we are not living consciously. We are being lived by habits, by old wounds, by unexamined beliefs, and by forces in our environment that decide for us how we feel, what we value, and how we respond. When we avoid something long enough, it doesn't disappear. It simply moves into the background and begins to run the show from there. And this is how denial works, not as a dramatic refusal of reality, but as a subtle numbing, a soft closing of the eyes, where we tell ourselves stories like, "I'll deal with this later, it's not that important," or "this is just how life is." And slowly, without realizing it, we begin driving the car of our lives with our eyes closed, not knowing where the steering wheel is, not knowing how the brakes work, not even knowing what direction we're moving in, and yet still pressing forward out of momentum rather than intention. In autopilot mode, the locus of control shifts almost entirely to the outside world, meaning our moods, reactions, and sense of worth are dictated by circumstances, other people's behavior, social expectations, and old conditioning. And when something goes wrong, we instinctively project our inner chaos outward, blaming the job, the relationship, society, our parents, our past, or even ourselves in harsh and unhelpful ways, rather than recognizing that much of what we are reacting to is not the present moment at all, but unresolved material from earlier chapters of our lives that we never paused long enough to understand. This is why avoidance feels safe in the short term but costly in the long term, because what we avoid does not shrink, it grows, it gains weight, it gains influence, and it begins shaping our choices invisibly, and eventually we wake up one day feeling lost, anxious, resentful, or empty.